Hello friends, February 28, 2025. In the White House, a meeting was held between the American President, Donald Trump, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. US Vice-President JD Vance attended the meeting too, as well as several media representatives. Everything was being broadcast live through the cameras. The White House chefs were setting up food for the guests. Meanwhile, this meeting was unprecedented in modern diplomatic history.
Gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
This meeting turns into an argument straight out of a reality TV show. This meeting has now been written in the pages of history, because now global geopolitics and the world order of our world is going to change. The richest oligarch of the world, Elon Musk, said that America should withdraw from the United Nations and NATO. USA has already existed the World Health Organization and the Paris Climate Agreement, and under Trump, America is getting closer to its decades-long enemy Russia. The situation has gotten so bad that some people are accusing Donald Trump of being Putin's undercover agent. How will it impact the world? Let's understand this issue in detail in this video. First, let's understand the background of this situation. On February 24, 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine. That was the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine war. When people hear the word war, some assume that it means two sides fighting over something, but it's not always so. This was a one-sided invasion. Ukraine went to war only to defend itself, but Russia went to war to grab its land and resources. To hide this real reason, Putin used other excuses. At times he said that the expansion of NATO was a threat to Russia. Other times he claimed that there are neo-Nazis in Ukraine, and Russia was fighting to eliminate them. All lies. Merely Russian propaganda. The real reason was colonialism. At the beginning of this invasion, Russia forces advanced rapidly. They captured the northern and east part of Ukraine. In response, America, European countries, and many of their allies came together to support Ukraine. Global-level sanctions were imposed on Russia, and these countries started sending weapons to Ukraine. Ukrainian forces fought bravely, and with the help of these Western allies, Ukraine was quite successful in pushing back Russia by September 2022. But after this, the war entered into a stalemate. Look at the map. This shows the recent areas controlled by Ukraine and Russia in September 2022. Today, the control over these areas remain largely unchanged. The war has been going on over the past 3 years. A large number of people have died on both sides, but Ukraine is unable to regain total control over its territory. But neither is Russia able to take over the remaining Ukrainian territories. Over the last 3 years, the strategy of the USA and European has been that they won't interfere in this war directly. They won't send their soldiers. Rather, to help Ukraine defend itself, they were willing to provide weapons and money to Ukraine and impose sanctions on Russia. This has been Ukraine and Western allies' position, that they won't back out of this war until Ukraine wins back all its territories, to go back to the state before the war. And then in 2024 there were presidential elections in America, and Donald Trump came into power.
Clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Right in his election campaign, Trump had promised that as soon as he'd become the president, he would stop the Russia-Ukraine war within a day.
Swiftly end the war in Ukraine. So when I say end it, you can get that. I will have that settlement done within 24 hours.
To discuss this, a meeting war held between Trump and Zelensky. Ukraine said that it isn't enjoying this war, but they want a guarantee that if they stop fighting now, Russia won't attack their country after the ceasefire. And to this extent they want guarantees and securities from America. But Donald Trump wants to ignore this question. On the other hand, Trump told Ukraine that, since the US has been giving them a lot of money and weapons, Ukraine should give them 50% of the revenue from its natural resources. I am not joking. This is the actual plan proposed by Donald Trump to Ukraine. The oil, gas, contracts, ports, infrastructure. Every bit of Ukraine natural resources? Trump wants half of it to be handed over to America? This is the same sort of deal that East India Company carried out in India? The Telegraph described this deal as the economic colonization of Ukraine. The Economist even said that Trump is asking for protection money like the mafia. They're asking Ukraine to give in them half of its wealth if it wants the US to protect it. Obviously no smart politician won't give up half of his country's resources to someone else. So Zelensky refused to sign the initial agreement. He said that he won't sign anything, which would burden the next 10 generations of Ukraine. In response, Donald Trump got angry. He started calling Zelensky a dictator publicly.
A dictator without elections. Zelensky better move fast or he's not going to have a country left. Gotta move fast.
In this social media post, he said that Zelensky better move fast or he is not going to have a country left. It was after this that Zelensky the White House to meet Donald Trump and to discuss the mineral deal, and thus the meeting took place on the February 28th. Everything was in front of the camera and broadcast live. The meeting went on well enough for the first half an hour. After that the situation began changing. Zelensky said that Putin had violated the ceasefire 25 times. He asked if Putin could be trusted. If Ukraine stopped fighting now, it's possible that Russia would attack again in a few years.
From the 2014, Putin broken 25 times his own signature. 25 times he broken ceasefire.
Trump had no answer to this. All he said was that Putin has not broken any agreement with him. US Vice-President JD Vance chimed in that the path to peace will be paved through diplomacy. In response, Zelensky started counting all the incidents. It was the third largest nuclear power in the world. They had numerous nuclear weapons, but in 1994, it became the only country to voluntarily give up its nuclear weapons. This was executed by the 1994 Budapest